Welcome back to CEOs of the Industry, a conversation with Ray Collier from J.C. Howard Farms. Welcome, Ray.
Glad to be here. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, so scale, size, and family foundations. Ray, can you tell us the current scale and scope of J.C. Howard Farms? How would you describe the operation today and what makes it unique as a family-run business?
Well, we're very diverse in what we do and been that way for quite a while. Mhm. Uh, Around 15,000 sows, fair to wean. We have several finishing buildings, some wean to finish, some feeder to finish, and one nursery wean to feeder that we are like contract producers to Smithfield. Our sows are in a wean pig agreement with Smithfield currently. And we also have grain elevators that we procure grain for Smithfield and also operate our feed mill on a toll type arrangement producing feed for Smithfield in that network. And we row crop farm around 5,500 acres. And presently that's corn and soybeans in that rotation. And we're in partnership in some John Deere dealerships. We're shareholders in a network there. So
Okay.
that gets us fairly diverse, and we own 90% of the land we tend, and so we're able to help with our cost of production there on that side of producing grains.
So it's quite the story with JC Howard. Two transformations in 4 years. Your business has experienced first selling to Smithfield, and then after the 2020 virus challenge, you then repurchased operations later. How did those changes reshape your business and mindset?
Well, starting with the departure in 2020, we were under market challenges as well when we just came out of the pandemic, and we felt that we were a good fit to join Smithfield in that arena. And then the idea came up from Smithfield about our grain operations and our feed mill. Could we work some type of agreements out there to to procure grain and also manufacture feed to help their their operation out, both from a tonnage standpoint and logistics? Being close to farms help a major freight savings. We're closer to the grain, plus we're closer to some of their farms. So just by scheduling that, uh, there's a savings there for Smithfield, and we were glad to be a part of that and continue on to this day. Yes, sir. So that happened in 2020, and
Yeah.
we're still procuring grain during grain season and off season, and plus doing the manufacturing of feed on a toll type arrangement. Yes, sir.
So walk us through what happened when Smithfield first approached you and then later came back now. We're talking 2024 on the south side.
Yes.
What
On the
led to
south side.
the decision to repurchase and operate differently this time, right?
Well, we had been through 3 or 4 years from a contract production standpoint, and that went quite well, really well. And as we moved into 2020, obviously, like all producers during 2020, we had debt, and the ability to purchase the sows back was an opportunity Smithfield gave us. They approached us, and we looked at all of our options and decided that the wean pig agreement was a good agreement, and which allowed us to be productive here in the same manner we'd always been productive, raising pigs, but add a little extra margin to that pig from a contract standpoint to an ownership standpoint, knowing that there's still risk there. There's still risk, but that was just a analyzed move that I did to rapidly decrease our debt faster than we would have just in contract production. Contract production was successful and we retired a lot of debt, but this will help in that manner to retire debt.
So how did the original 2020 sale come about? And then the major factor that influenced it was the debt.
Major factor was the debt and being able to have an invitation with Smithfield and not decline it in hoping for better markets. It was just a risk management, overall risk management at that point. Yes, sir.
So what changed by 2024 that made you want to buy back the sows?
Well, you know, being a livestock producer for 50 years is still in your heart. But a man told me one time, be careful to let your heart make your decisions because if you don't let your mind make your decisions, you let the heart make it, you could break your heart. Let your mind make your decisions. Your heart might be broken down the road, but so we made the right decision in 2020 to go that route. And then going through that contract production and the ability to own ourselves again and have ability to protect ourselves somewhat and raise wean pigs like we've been doing for a very long time. Again, the ability to procure a little extra margin, use that margin for debt retirement to rapidly reduce that has put us where we are today.
And is there anything different about your model now, Ray, compared to before?
Same model. Raising pigs on the farms. We oversee we oversee everything now. We have accountability to Smithfield some requirements for our pigs, but we do the managing 100% here and use the same vaccines we've used before. If we want to make some changes, we just need permission granted, but overall, very, very close to what we were doing prior to 24.
So strategic focus, wean to market shifts. You've transitioned to selling wean pigs rather than going wean to finish due to
Correct.
feed mill capacity. So how has that shift affected your operations and strategy?
You talking about just marketing a wean pig versus marketing a market hog?
Yeah.
Well, you basically look 6 months out at the futures and use the markets in a forward rather than in a nearby. And that's what doing today, using Chicago to help me lock in some of those profits and just the risk is we have to deliver the pig sooner, but so you have to be careful and watch the board and manage it a little different than say if you were selling market hogs today in the April versus, we're now out 6 months out looking at the October, December futures and on into Feb. So little market shift, but nothing that can't be used as a tool going forward.
Did the feed mill agreement shape your production decisions as well, Ray?
Well, it continued the same from 2020 as today, but we purchased our sow feed from Smithfield. Our mill is a finishing dedicated feed mill, making grower and finisher feeds for Smithfield. So instead of utilizing part of the mill to manufacture our sow feed, I made the decision to not slow the mill down just to make a little bit of tonnage, keep it efficient in what it's doing, making finishing feed, and not have other ingredients and other labels in there. More efficient to run that meal at max with only two diets in there. Totally more efficient.
Okay. And what about managing scale without losing identity? So JC Howard Farms operates at a significant scale, Ray, producing roughly, I think, 7,000 tons a week, yet
Yes.
still holds an identity as a family farm. How do you balance size with culture?
Uh, we were basically we increased our tonnage, obviously by limiting rations in the feed mill, but with same management there, same employees as back when we were making 5,500 tons. It's just we run more efficient through there. So the managing it's hard to ride by and say we're making 7,000 versus we're making 5,500, and we're just more efficient at it than we were prior to 2020 because we were making 12 different rations. Now we're making two, so it's a little better there. So as a viewing us as a family farm, we're still that way, even though we are producing more than we used to. So the culture management's the same, so our culture is still like we were. Always just we're here every day.
Are there other advantages of being large enough to compete, but small enough to stay personal?
Absolutely, yes. We have the scale in our purchasing and probably not quite as large as some of the others, but we're open door policy, owners manage and are available every day, and we just still have that relationship with our employees that we've had for years and years to come, and that culture, we're kind of under the radar to a point, but we just love the aspect that it's ours and we're in charge and for the most part in control of our destiny.
And how do you keep your people and partners aligned through growth?
Well, we have peaked in our growth and to a point, and now we're just transitioning. We've been 1 year, 1 year and a few months into this new agreement, and it's basically business as usual as we've had all these years. Yes, sir.
So I think we agree there's a always adapting in a fast changing industry. So we've got disease pressure to consolidation. The industry looks different today. What have the past few years taught you about agility and decision making, right?
Well, always look forward to what we can do better, whether it be in management, whether it be in your rations, in disease prevention, excuse me. And I think just the ability to have gone through these cycles, going back to 1998 debacle, going through all these cycles and knowing that uh, take a margin when a margin is available to you. And uh, my term is uh, you'll always be at the table. You might leave some money on the table, but as long as you're sitting at the table, you'll be in business. So we strive real hard to procure margins, and if market goes up, sell some more. But that's in purchasing, we're opposite the same way. We try to purchase and from our inputs, from the crops, even into the animals that you procure your price, be happy with it, do your budget, sell some grain against it, sell some pigs against it, and just when there's margins there, capture them. And so far, we've done the best we could with that. And there has been times in the past when I'd sell pigs to limit losses, but that's a whole nother story that our future doesn't look that way at this particular time. But it's ever changing, so you just have to be aware and just not really try to hit the top of the market, but do the best you can in taking margins and stay. Number one goal in business is to stay there. Number two is make some money.
And what role does innovation or technology play at JC Howard?
We're always looking to other things. We're currently working with the university here on some Fairwind mats to cool some sows. There's a project we got going on here, just getting started to our size helps us be able to communicate like that and put in some small research things for folks like that. And we love helping the colleges and learn ourselves. And we've been networked with them for many years. And we might not want to be the first guinea pig to try it, but we're going to be in line to try some things as they come out. Yes, sir. And
So
let
is
it be
that
proven.
NC State?
NC State.
Okay, so you've worked with them for a while and you have some neat things happening.
Yeah, right. Got some things presently getting ready to get started for this summer to test out some things. Yes, sir.
Okay. So next generation of JC Howard, it's a family operation at heart, Ray. How do you see the next generation shaping the future?
Well, I have two daughters and a nephew currently in the business, both two NC States and one Mount Olive College graduate, and one's in the crop side and two are in the animal side. This technology, like I say, it took me a little while to learn how to even connect to you today on this computer. I'm not saying I'm too old to learn it, but they really are on top of this technology with our farm data of our piglets, with our computer entries into our feed mill, and the technology that is in the row crop area with the guidance systems, with the sprayers, with the planters, combines. So I feel confident in the three individuals behind me that they are bringing this technology to us, but also bringing it in a manner that we older ones understand the basics of it and what it can do for us as far as trimming costs or maximizing yields or becoming more efficient. Where I don't know the entire process, I understand enough about it to implement it. Okay.
So there you've got the next generation on the technology. Now, are there lessons that you want the family to carry forward beyond or things that you've instilled in your career prior?
Yes, it's all about our cost, trying to be a low cost producer. And whether that is uh, working on your input purchases and being efficient as to how you apply them, whether you're feeding an animal or putting a seed in the ground from the fertilizer right onto the feed. It's just be a low cost producer and do the very best you can on the production side.
And how do you keep younger people interested in staying involved in pork production?
Well, we worked some young people on some internships here through the colleges and also the high school, and we're just available to them for young folks to come learn some, and that's a challenge. That's a challenge, and we'll get greater as we move forward, I believe, because sometimes it's not glamorous what we do. Okay, sometimes you can't be at the beach on Saturday. What we do, especially in the summertime, we're an hour from the ocean. Okay, so it's in them to think, and we can play and work. So it's just a balance of the play and the work and the timing. So, but again, I've worked a lot my life and seeing how the new younger ones are adapting to the culture, and it's more of a lifestyle than a job. Okay.
We're going to get to the reflection question in a minute, Ray, but can you give us just a brief background of your history in the industry?
I started when I was like 7 or 8 years old with my uncle Wingate Collier, and helping him and my grandfather. They just had a few sows. My uncle had 600 sows, and everything was on the ground, a fair to finish, everything on the ground except the farrowing and the nursery. So I started a long time ago when there were very few buildings. That was back in the early 1970s. Okay. He went through a pseudorabies outbreak and came back, and I helped him during the summers and all during school, and learned a lot of the old time ways to how to raise pigs. And the majority of that is still here today. And then came here in 1985 and have been here ever since. And we grew there, and from when I came, 1,000 sows to where we are today, and we were over that prior to 2020. But then when we downsized as a contract producer, we came into around 15,000 sows. But so I've seen I've been through a lot of times when we had pigs on the ground to now having zero pigs on the ground and all of them in confinement and learning the style of buildings as they adapted and changed throughout the years has been a good process for me to go through and learn and see how we used to do it compared to how we do it today and trying to convey all of this to the younger generation and when I really don't have a manual on it, it came from just learning and hard knocks. But it's it's uh it's a challenge for me just to try to instill in them the knowledge I might have, and by no means am I the best at it because I'm still learning myself every day. And but just learning the uh-ohs, don't do that because uh-oh, and watch out. And so I remember when I did that, and that's what happened. So you be sure not do that, okay? And from management techniques to hardware or just the physical part of how to manage buildings themselves. And during hurricanes, we recently had 15 inches of snow here back about a month ago, and that's a little different style for us here in North Carolina, but we're used to more storms of hurricanes and windstorms that we have to get prepared for. But we came through the snow event fairly well. And but that's just things that you learn along the way that you try to instill and pass along to the younger ones. And as they watch you and you talk about it, they adapt pretty good to it. I'm proud of
Well, looking back, what else are you most proudest of, and what continues to drive you every day?
them. What drives me is wanting to teach them in a manner that I've learned along the way from Mr. Howard and my uncle and my parents, the way they instilled into me the work ethic. And that's what I want to do is just hopefully be the correct leader where they not only hear what I say, but watch me along the way and see how I react and how you treat people, whether they be employees or suppliers or anyone that walks through our doors or comes on our property, just treat them with respect and know that they need us and we need them. So let's try to get together as commonly and move forward. So uh, they'll adapt to technology and they'll learn that on their own. But some of the old timey ways of just being a gentleman and a young lady to everyone is what I want to see them to see from me and as I carry forward. And by no means am I the perfect example, okay? And I admit that today.
Is there anything you'd want to change about the industry, whether it's like demand, flavor, or anything at all, Ray?
Well, I think we do need to work on our demand and our flavor and be careful, be conscious of the marbling in today's pork and know that, beef cut out is what, 4 times today, pork cut out. That demand's pretty strong. And I think we need to keep learning and watching as an industry and being able to keep ourselves in that position and try to move forward. And I think taste and how the product is prepared are very important to our industry. How these chefs prepare our pork and the pork we give them to prepare to make sure it has enough marbling in there to give that quality of taste. So we are number two to beef, and we remain that way and don't lose ground there. And as you well know, beef has dramatically climbed in price throughout the last few years, and pork's kind of climbed somewhat, but not the pace that the beef has. And we need to make sure we remain with our market share of consumption to the individuals and then give our export market what our export market needs to stay viable.
As we wrap, Ray, we do have fast 5 questions to get to know the person behind the producer. Are you good for that?
Let's go. Yes, sir. I'll try.
So, what's your favorite part of a day on the farm?
My favorite part is the mornings, getting started, eating breakfast without the phone call starting, unless there's something major. But my favorite part of the day is morning and 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 thanking the Lord that I was able to have one more day to try and see what I can do for someone.
What's one decision that you made that changed everything?
I say the one decision that changed everything was the day we went from an independent producer to a contract producer because adapting to that and getting the heart and the mind in in connection there, okay? Being a longtime pork producer today, owning the animals, and tomorrow not owning the animals. That was fairly hard, but it was the right decision at the right time. No regrets, no regrets. And it gave us the ability to be sound and be viable to remain in business as we were structured. And then 24 came along with the chance to do the purchase back. So I think number one, the decision in 2020 to exit the business as independent producer was that decision, number one.
Has anybody influenced your leadership style the most?
I would say my uncle, my parents, and John Howard with J.C. Howard have influenced me a lot. I watched them as I grew up, and I saw how they treated people, and I saw the drive that they all had to succeed and grow, and that's I just was kind of walking behind them. Yes, sir.
What's one piece of advice you give a young farmer starting out today?
Understand that it's the hours could be long, and there's things you could miss along the way, but it's a very good life. It's a very good life when you wake up every morning and you're the eternal optimist. When you plant a seed or breed an animal, you're the eternal optimist because you're going to see something come from that you're going to market and hopefully be of value back to the organization. So you have to be patient. You have to just be open-minded to look at things that are coming throughout the industries and be open-minded and evaluate them. But patience is one thing that I think is at the top of that list.
And when you're not working, Ray, how do you recharge or unwind?
How do I recharge or unwind? Well, I enjoy NC State basketball, and as I told you earlier, I had some surgeries, and I was only able to attend 3 games, and so I got my fulfillment there, other than listening on the radio. But that's where I enjoy that with my wife. We go and some of the kids will go sometimes, or we take friends. But that's just during the winter time, and that's what I've come to love. That's my hunting and my fishing. Okay,
The NC State basketball. And then,
NC State basketball.
then I think we're allowed to say congratulations, your new grandpa.
New Grandpa Friday, yes sir. A baby girl, 9 pounds and 7 ounces. So she'll be uh the next generation coming along. So I have there's four now, four, a boy and 3 girls, uh, to have the ability to follow along if they so choose. It's available if they choose. We're not pushing anyone. We want them to be at a comfort that they decide this is what they want to do. So it's open to all of the family.
Well, it's a great way to be, Ray. Thanks for joining us, Ray Collier, CEO of J.C. Howard Farms on CEOs of the Industry.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim, very much. Thank you for what you do for us.
Thank you, Ray.